So about a week and a half ago, I placed the largest Amazon order in my entire life.
Proceed to checkout. Oh God.
I'm trying to do this on a student budget, and as much as I'd love to support local businesses and whatnot, you know, a lot of the components are just, you know, way cheaper on Amazon. I'm sure the quality is a lot less, and that's sort of just a risk I don't have to take. So yeah, behind me here is sort of the major components left, things coming in that I will need to finish this build. Basically, I have all the stuff for solar charging and battery charging. I also went out and got some electrical outlets, light switches, you know, sort of all the little hardware, and don't underestimate that cost in your build. It definitely caught me off guard a bit. But that being said, I have Chinese diesel heater. This is a solar panel. I got, you know, like I said before, this is a box full of hardware and other stuff. A 2000 watt RENOGY charger inverter charger. Yeah, obviously I still got a lot more to do on the trailer to sort of, you know, implement this stuff, but it's kind of all happening in tandem now. So yeah, let's get to it.
3 weeks later.
All right, so I'm gonna give a quick overview, unboxing, first impression of everything I ordered for my off-grid solar system. This is a purely honest and genuine review. I am not receiving any commission, or I'm not sponsored by any of this. And this is, I use my own money to buy this stuff based off of the research I've done and other people's reviews. I'll leave a link in the description for everything that I ordered. Starting with the largest thing you see is the solar panel. This is a Bouge RV 180 watt solar panel. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It fits the width of the trailer perfectly on the roof. And then I also got some mounting brackets by Bouge RV specifically designed for this panel, which are nice quality aluminum brackets. And I also got some solar cables with the connectors, MC4 connectors, 20 feet of it. Along with that, this is the pass-through I bought, and you know, it's nothing special, it's simple, but I bought one with a flange. Others don't have that, and I don't know how people actually mount those to the roof. So I'm, you know, happy with this so far. It comes with a little wrench to sort of screw these terminals on. I went with a EPEVER MPPT solar charge controller. This is a 30 amp unit. There were some good reviews on this unit. People were talking about having large terminals, so that's good. And the heatsink on the back is pretty straightforward, and it's a nice heavy quality unit. I got this as a kit, so it came with the MT50 display. This is all sort of some hardware. It's not all here yet, and I will be adding some more as I sort of figure out my wiring diagram. Battery kill switch, 200 amp circuit breaker, 12 volt 6 blade fuse holder, and a bus bar. This is the inverter charger I decided to purchase. It is a 2000 watt PCL series by RENOGY, and it has an automatic transfer switch, so when you hook up to shore power, you know, it converts to charging the batteries that way. It's a nice quality unit. It is fairly large, so be aware of that, and it weighs about 50 pounds. There's no outlets on it, so everything has to be hardwired, which is fine because I'm going to be hardwiring outlets in this build anyways. But essentially what you see here is just a simple on and off switch, your AC in and out, and then your battery sort of terminals. On the top right here is the communication ports. That will be running the wires to the display and the battery temp sensor. This is a very simple display just with an on off button, but it's nice because it gives you an option to turn this unit on and off and not have to sort of directly get into the space. On the top here, there's a simple display for controls and whatnot, and then other than that, you know, it's just a simple clean metal box. It's definitely way overkill than what I need, but I wanted to buy something with an automatic transfer switch and an inverter that is also a charger. I was getting a little confused on the two, and basically at the end of the day, this thing costs about the same amount as it would to buy a charge converter and an inverter. So hopefully this unit performs well. Reviews online were kind of mixed. Again, I will give my totally honest review once I'm done and actually installed and using this thing. You know, just as a first impression, the box, everything was packaged very well for what it is. You know, it is quite impressive. And so yeah, looking here, I sort of have organized what will be the control panel. This is a little control remote for the inverter, and then I have the MT50 solar charge controller remote, and then I have my AiLi battery monitor that I also bought off of Amazon, and seemed to have some pretty good reviews, and was about a quarter of the price than the Victron, you know, sort of name brand. Okay, so one of the biggest purchases I've done for this build is actually the battery. It is a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery by CANBAT. It's a Canadian company, and they're actually really great to deal with. I placed the order for the battery at like 4 p.m. and within the same day it was already on the truck being shipped. So they're a very great company to deal with. I'm happy with the service so far. I actually got this thing on sale after the sale date, so that was really nice. There's a lot of pros and cons when it comes to picking a battery, and I'll do a brief explanation why I chose this battery over a sealed lead acid system or your conventional, you know, lead acid batteries or AGM. And really what it comes down to is you get what you pay for, and there is a sort of price point balance that you have to deal with when it comes to, let's say, capacity, weight, size, you know, temperature, and all those things. There's a lot of great batteries out there, and I'm not here to tell you what battery you need to use. I decided to buy the one that I think will work best for me. I could be wrong, you know, I'm just kind of learning as I go, but I can do a quick comparison for you guys to sort of explain the rationale why I chose this battery for this build. Okay, so we're looking at the battery here. I'm not sure what the group size is of this battery, but it seems to be, you know, your typical sort of deep cycle battery size. This thing only weighs 30 pounds, super light, which is awesome. Now, to compare this, I did a mock-up with cardboard. This was the route I was going to take. I was going to order 2 6-volt AGM batteries, deep cycle, and you can see there's quite a size comparison difference, right? I modeled these two size. I believe there are 250 amp hour 6-volt batteries, and these bad boys weigh roughly, I think, 76 pounds each. This battery here, just one of them, weighs more than double of the lithium batteries. So here you can just see the area comparison of like how much space these batteries need versus the lithium. Now at the end of the day, I actually am going to get relatively close to the same amount of capacity. Because AGM or lead acid batteries, you can only really use 50% of the capacity. For example, if these are 250 amp hour batteries linked in series, I'm not increasing my capacity. I'm only going to have 250 amp hours of capacity, but I am only able to use 50% of that, so 125 amp hours, right? So I have to buy double the battery amount to sort of get that capacity that I need. Lithium, obviously, I can use, they say I can use up to 100% of it without damaging the battery really. I probably won't go below 80. That's what sort of is in the recommended specs. Now, price point. I paid just over $1,000 for this battery. These two AGM batteries, I was gonna pay around $800 for 2 of them. They're roughly $400 to $350 each. So for the extra $200, I reduced the weight by like 4 times and the size by, let's say, double. Something for this build, size and space requirements are very limited, right? I only have that little space up front that the battery will be housed in. The other thing to consider is the weight. I don't want to add an extra 140 pounds or so to the front of this trailer. You know, with all the other stuff that's being added here, I'm just creating more drag. You know, I have to spend more fuel. And so in the long run, I think paying a little bit more for the battery that weighs less is actually going to save me a bit. Now, there is an Achilles heel. Lithium does not perform well in the cold, and I do expect to go ice fishing with this thing and be out in the winter. These batteries will not charge if the temperature goes below 0 degrees Celsius. And, you know, just outside right now, it's minus 15 or so. And so that would be a little bit of a problem, right? They can still discharge energy up to minus 35. So my rationale of thinking is that if this thing does get cold, let's say I need to leave it outside, for example, and you know the temperature drops below 0, I can still use some of the reserved energy to run my diesel heater, which that alone does not require a lot of electricity, to get the space up above 0 degrees Celsius, and then the system can start beginning to charge again. I think that is going to be okay, but that might be an issue that I run into. The nice thing about it though, because the battery only weighs 30 pounds, if I know I'm going to leave the trailer unattended outside or for whatever reason, I can easily unhook it and bring it with me. This is a diesel heater that I'll be installing in my trailer build. This is a Tispaway Tispayawayo. This is the Chinese diesel heater I bought off of Amazon. It cost me 260 bucks, and this is the whole kit that comes with the unit. Just an overall impression is that this is a very extensive kit, and I'm pretty impressed with everything that comes included. Other than these 3 items here, which I picked up myself because I needed a longer ducting for the heat, and I picked up some elbows just to sort of get that nice and clean. But overall, it sort of has everything you need to install and start running this diesel heater. So here's the diesel heater itself. It is the, I guess, medium size. It is a 5.0 kilowatt system. I'm not sure what that converts into BTUs, but it is sort of the medium sized unit that you can buy. Included in the kit is a 10-liter fuel tank, the heat outlet hose with the adjustable vent. Also comes with ample amounts of wiring with respective connectors, so you can't really get that wrong. I appreciate that Positive here has an inline fuse option. There's a control panel that comes with the system that gets wired to the unit, and then it also comes with a key fob, which is great. The unit comes with some hose clamps and a fuel filter. There's the exhaust pipe with a little muffler. This is the combustion air inlet with a air filter, a fuel pump, and a rubber mounting plate. And then this is actually the fuel line, and it seems to be a good quality one. When I was looking at reviews and other people's experiences of buying Chinese diesel heaters, their fuel line was flexible in a sense, and they're able to pinch it. And this one actually seems to be good quality, so I'm happy about that. The mounting bracket that gets screwed into the floor and attaches the unit, and then just a piece of fuel line that you sort of use to bridge, you know, this to the fuel pump and then the tank itself. The tank also comes with all the hardware to mount the spigot. So this unit here, you know, it's sort of typical in the sense of, I guess, the size of a diesel heater. It looks pretty standard. It's, you know, just a knockoff of commercially available units. I chose to buy this unit instead of the Webasto or other brand names because there's about a $1,200 difference. This as a whole kit seems to be pretty reasonable. Bottom side, there's a rubber gasket, air combustion inlet, the fuel line inlet, and the exhaust. On both sides, air intake and the hot air out. That gets connected to the venting and sort of used to heat the space. Comes with a little manual that seems pretty intuitive. The English isn't the greatest, but a read through, I'm fully confident that I'll be able to install this thing. And it sort of gives you little diagrams of how to mount some ducting, and it's pretty straightforward in a way. You know, it's not a very complicated system. It gives you a sort of troubleshooting of maintenance and what things mean. Also gives you operation control and sort of first time starting and whatnot. So that is great. I'm actually very happy with this unit for 260 bucks. You know, I don't think I can go wrong. Going forward, I'm actually going to start installing this equipment now, and so I will go through the process of installing this stuff. I've never, you know, installed solar equipment or, you know, batteries or solar panels or any of this stuff before, and so it's going to be a learning experience as we go. Just a forewarning, I'm not an expert, so this is not going to be a how-to, or don't take what I do as a reference. I'm just kind of giving you the honest sort of experience. If you do learn something from it, then great, and if you see that I'm doing something wrong, you know, let me know, and because you know, I'm just here to learn as well. So we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna kind of give you an overall explanation on how the layout's gonna work, and we're just gonna kind of dive in and start you know, installing the stuff. So here we go. Okay, so we're at the front of the trailer now, and so this is roughly how the layout's gonna work. I'm gonna have the battery sort of set up in the lower left area here. Up above that is where I'm gonna have my solar charge controller. The inverter is gonna be mounted on the wall in this space right above these sort of two components, and then my diesel heater is going to be mounted on the lower right, and I'm going to build a sort of compartment keeping it sealed away from all this other stuff. The outlet is going to go up probably around like 3 foot mark or so, and then sort of into the cabin space. The other air inlet from the cabin is going to sort of come here and just at the floor. And yeah, I think that'll be sort of an efficient little layout. My 12 volt fuse block's gonna go here. I'm not yet sure how I'm gonna protect the 120 volt. Solar panel's obviously gonna be on the roof, and then the wires are gonna go run sort of on the roof and through the through a pass-through down to my charge controller. I do have a wiring diagram that I'll link and sort of I can describe, but essentially, yeah, the wires from the solar panel are going to come down to the charge controller, then to a bus bar to the battery is going to go to the bus bar and then to the inverter, and then also I'm going to have a split off that goes to the 12-volt system. So I'm going to try to keep this as low profile as possible because I want the area up above to be storage, obviously, because I have such little space in here that I'm going to need some storage space for clothes and equipment and tools and whatnot. I'm excited to get into this. We'll keep you updated as I go along. Here we go.